All right. So I just got done watching the most recent episode of Dragon Ball Super, right? Man, so annoyed with the way the shit is going on. Like, so many problems with. Well, okay. I have problems with the way this series has been going um, since the start of this last arc, like in general. But this one episode, oh my god. What? What are they doing? They're rushing the shit out of everything. So much shit happened in this whole episode. It's like they just do everything at us, and it's like, well, okay, like they jumped from like one fight to another one to another one. It's like, why are you? It's kind of, why are you jumping around? Like this. Okay, first of all, there's been so much build up, right, to this arc starting since, what was it? It was like, I can't remember, the fall of last year, some months ago. So it's been months. It's so much build up, leading up to it. Even during the exhibition parts, there's episodes leading up to it. So build up, you kind of getting a feel of what was going to come. And there's a recruitment arc, the whole, whole set of episodes just dedicated to this whole recruitment of the Universe 7 team. Well, other teams too, but most Universe 7. And then now you get to this tournament and the shit's going by like, why is it going by so quick? I mean, don't even get me started in this whole 48-minute time limit, which is so arbitrary and kind of doesn't make sense. Why would you pick such an arbitrary number? Like, why 48 minutes? I don't get that. I question the tournament format all the time by itself anyway. But that aside, that's kind of its own thing. I mean, it falls into my criticism of it being rushed, but that's its own thing. Like, why the fuck? I just feel like at this rate, this whole tournament is not going to last more than like 10 episodes. I mean, look what they just did at the end of this episode. They have fucking Goku and Jiren like staring at each other like they're about to face off. Didn't you just start this shit like about 3-4 episodes ago? Why are they kind of throwing that in there like that's about to happen already? Like, don't you want to kind of take some time to build that shit up? I mean, it just kind of rushed. Not to mention, a whole universe got erased in 5 minutes. 5 minutes since they started. In universe, 5 minutes. Well, and like kind of one episode. Like, they're rushing the shit out of this. The other people are getting like knocked off left and right. It's like, slow down. The fact that it's only 48 minutes is bad enough, but why are you rushing the shit out of this? Like, slow down. Okay? Anyway, I'm gonna get too off topic, but back to the whole episode itself. I mean, oh my god. The fight between Goku and Cauliflower, whatever, it was rushed in itself. I mean, okay, they started fighting, and yeah, sure. I mean, he's kind of teaching her how to do shit, and she's kind of, trying to learn how to be, I guess, how to have control over her power, and just testing shit out. She's like, they're having fun and shit, and I get it. I'm like, okay, and then Kel comes in, and then once she gets all like emotionally disturbed, she just kind of rages out, and all of a sudden that shit happens. She's just fucking around. I mean, fucking up with him, and just fucking him up. I'm just like, I mean, okay, I know he wasn't really like totally messed up, but I mean, Jesus, just started raging all over the place, and then they started fighting, and then after a few minutes, she started raging, and then just attacking everybody, kind of, and then Jiren comes out of nowhere and just like, yeah, stops her, and then it's like, okay, and then fucking Hit comes out of nowhere, and he's almost getting ready to fight Jiren, but then he runs away for I don't know really what reason. Then Jiren comes out of nowhere, and Goku comes out of nowhere, and it's like, hey, and then I'm not about to do shit. I'm like, whoa, calm down. Not to mention this fucking Universe 11 guy. I don't remember his name, but Yeah, he was trying to. I can't remember. I think he was trying to stop. God, I don't remember. Um, that's that's terrible because I just watched it. He was trying to stop somebody. I think it was Cauliflower, but whatever. And he got eliminated. I'm like, dude, we just started. Damn, we don't even know this guy. He just got eliminated like that. Calm down. Stop rushing the shit. You know. Um. Oh yeah. Also, other problems I have. Okay, last episode, and the episode before that, right? 2 episodes ago, Universe 9 got eliminated. Everyone saw that shit. I mean, like, erased. Everyone saw that shit, and they were like, oh my god, that's so serious, right? The narrator had to make a point about it, how serious it was. Next episode, like, some of the guys were like, yeah, they started trying to gang up on more of Universe 7 guys, like Colonel 18, because they saw the severity of the situation. Frost was going around fucking, apparently, just coming out of nowhere and just knocking people off left and right. I mean, I have to assume Krillin was the only one he did that to because he knows the severity of the situation enough to take advantage of that shit. They're fighting for their survival. And what do we see in like the first like 5 minutes or so? These two guys are fucking around with Kale. I'm like, did you not just see what happened? Why are you fucking around? Only barely maybe 5 minutes ago, entire universe got erased, and you're gonna take the time to mess around with this one person. It's a battle royale, and everyone's going around doing sneaky shit, or you have to assume at worst they will. Everyone's fighting for their lives, and you're gonna take this time to let down your guard. We've seen that's a problem with some characters. You're gonna take this time to do the same shit and fuck around. Why would you do that? You just saw it's stupid. I don't know. Everyone makes the same fucking mistake. It's dumb. And then, what else? Yeah, and then, just the whole. Okay, the animation confuses the shit out of me because when everyone first got there, it was like, by the way, flying is not allowed, right? And it's like I even saw this like maybe 2 episodes ago. Yeah, it was 2 episodes ago. The same episode Universe 9 got eliminated. Flying is not allowed. Yeah, it looked like in some scenes that some of the characters are flying. Even in this episode, why does it look like they're flying? Like, it's so unclear. It's like, I know it seems kind of like a petty thing to call out, a nitpicky, whatever, but it's really not. I mean, it speaks to the overall inconsistency of like the animation and like the series itself. It's like you make it a point to say flying is not allowed. Well, I guess except for characters who can naturally fly, but then you animate it kind of the same as this animation looks the same as all the circumstances where they could fly. It looks the same. It doesn't. They don't. It's not making. It did not making the point to make it any different. So it looks like they're still flying. It's like, it's kind of. It seems kind of lazy, and I kind of get that. Given claims that the production, they had to rush everything because they're low budget or whatever, and they kind of rushed into this whole thing. I get that, but that doesn't make it better. It's still stupid. Why? I mean, if you're gonna take the time, to make it a point to the audience beforehand that nobody can fly in this, why still make the animation, so in like such that it's hard to distinguish whether they're flying or just jumping really far? It's like, what are you doing? It seems kind of lazy, I have a problem with that. But so that that's another problem I have. And then on top of that, yeah, I mean, like, why, like, again, they're just rushing the shit out of this whole thing. I mean, Kale, yeah, okay, the whole Kale versus like Super Saiyan Blue, okay. I read a lot of comments recently in the last like hour or so about this. I understand some of the fans being upset about this. I'm not necessarily as upset as some of them seem to be, but it still doesn't seem very reasonable. I mean, you gotta understand, right? This whole form that she has, it's an obvious reference to Broly, right? where his power level lies. And so if that's the case, we have to go back. He's the only frame of reference to her power level. We have to go back and kind of gauge where he falls in all of this. Personally, I never thought Broly was as strong as a Super Saiyan 2. I mean, given how this series works, and it's so linear, you know, the with each new villain, they're stronger than the last one. Most of the, I shall say, usually all the time. At least that's how you expect it. You know, and you kind of just that alone, seeing as where Broly and his first showing up in the first movie, where he falls in the timeline of all this. I don't count the second and third movie because they seem kind of bullshit. It don't really make sense at all. But the first one, seeing as where he falls in all this, he shows up before Cell. I mean, before the Cell games, and before Bojack. So you know he's not gonna match up to at least Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. And then you find out in the Majin Buu saga that Super Saiyan 2 Goku, and Vegeta Super Saiyan 2, Majin Vegeta, it's still whatever. It's about the same. It's equal to Super Saiyan 2 Goku. He shouldn't match up to that. Just chronologically speaking, he shouldn't. I wouldn't personally. I don't expect, based on all that, I don't expect him to match up to a Super Saiyan 2 or those Super Saiyan 2, those three people. He shouldn't. Doesn't make any sense, right? And then we saw, like, what was it, two? Well, before I get into that, yeah, back to Broly. He shouldn't. It's like, so I don't see him matching up to Super Saiyan 2, right? Even if he did somehow, he should match up to a Super Saiyan 3, let alone Super Saiyan Blue, right? So now we take this back to Kale. She shouldn't match up to Super Saiyan Blue at all. I mean, I don't care if Goku was holding back. I don't care if, you know, he wasn't going on out whatever, or he wasn't all that hurt in the end. She shouldn't have done that much damage to him at all. I don't see why she was pushing him back at all. I'm not saying he's supposed to be this OP powerful guy, but it doesn't make sense. Where is the frame of reference that we're supposed to see as the audience to demonstrate the power difference between, well, to demonstrate how powerful he is in that form? If he's shown to be knocked around, I don't care if he's shown to be, he doesn't come out like, he comes out like basically unscathed. He's shown to be knocked around. How the fuck does that make sense? It doesn't. It's weird. There's no way to gauge where his power lies, and then where hers does. It's like, if she's such a reference to Broly, there's no way she should be much stronger. There's no frame of reference to determine that. It's completely up in the air. There's no explanation. We're just supposed to just accept that as the audience. It's kind of insulting. That's the biggest problem I have with that. Also, yeah, again, so if she's a reference to Broly, I think it's reasonable to expect her power to be exactly the same, if not slightly higher at most than his. Given that, where is the frame of reference for her to be as strong as Super Saiyan Blue, or on par with Super Saiyan Blue, or to do any sort of damage that we saw with Super Saiyan Blue, let alone, well, Super Saiyan 3, let alone Super Saiyan Blue, you know, like we just saw. I mean, given that, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's stupid. I don't think it's defendable in any sort of right. So, yeah, I'm not necessarily as pissed, but as a lot of the other fans, you know, just on the fact that she was tanking his Kamehameha alone. I just think it's like one example of the many bullshit examples of the consistency and poor writing and development that the production has been put into Super since, like, maybe since it started, but honestly, I didn't really have major problems with it until, like, this arc. It's like, what the fuck? All of a sudden, it's like all fan service and not making any sort of sense anymore. I don't understand. So there's that. Yeah. I was gonna say something else, but I forgot what it was. No, you know what? Yeah. Yeah, they're just, they're rushing the shit out of this whole thing. Honestly, I would have preferred that they, instead of having this 48-minute battle royale, which is really showing itself to be a clusterfuck. Like, I don't think they have no handle on this, as far as I can tell. They can't handle this as a battle royale. It just can't. It's too much shit going on for them to handle properly. I think they should have done what they should have done. Was no battle royale. Keep it a turn like more like a bracket system, like how they usually have. But instead of maybe all 1v1s, have at least like 2v2s, 3v3s, 4v4s, kind of like that, or maybe even a few handicap matches. That will be a little bit weird, but like you mix it up. Maybe have a few 1v1s in there, but mix it up. Have a multi combatant battles. Kind of like Ruby style. If anyone's watched Ruby, so a lot of people have at this point. Instead of just having it this weird clusterfuck of a battle royale, there's just 80 people in there and you just see fucking explosions half the time and smoke all the time and fucking just people just going at each other, just doing the dumbest shit half the time, dude. It's like, oh my god, they shouldn't have done this. That would have been my preferred alternative, or maybe the next best thing, if they couldn't or wouldn't do that, would be to change the time limit. Why the fuck do you have 48 minutes? It doesn't make any sense. It just makes it all the more rushed and clusterfucky. Just make it like at least somewhere between 2 to 5 hours. Oh, they fight fast. I've heard that argument before. I get that, but 48 hours? I mean, 48 minutes? That's so. It's right there on my suspension of disbelief. It's right there, right fucking there. Screws with it, just right there. That's a bit unrealistic. Just make it longer. Okay, they're fast enough, but I mean, that's too much shit for the audience. Like, to me, like, did you saw the shit they just do with us in this one episode? Like, slow it down. Give it a few hours. That's enough for me to buy. At least 2.5 to 3 hours. Make it 4 or 5. Okay, it's kind of. If you're going any longer than 5, drag it out a little bit. But like, come on. 48 minutes. What the fuck is that? Yeah, there's that, and then. I mean, I don't know. Something else. I think there's something else. Oh yeah. Okay. To the argument about, defending the whole kind of, or to trying to be fair, whatever it was, Goku being Super Saiyan Blue. I've heard this recently. I feel like it's just some bullshit headcanon that was made up. There's nothing in the series that confirms this. Goku's in Super Saiyan Blue, perfect heat control. He can lower his or raise his ki, I guess, to however he wants. To however high or low he wants it. What's the point of that? Here's the problem. Barring Frieza, he's the only exception to this. When you have a transformation in the series, it's supposed to raise your power by default. That's what the function of this transformation serves. Frieza's the only exception to this in most of his transformations. Here's the thing. And Goku, he's followed this rule to a T. You don't all of a sudden, he's blue, and then which augments his power. It's shown to do that, but then somehow he can lower and raise his ki. What is the? All of a sudden, the point, the form kind of contradicts itself. What is the point of that then? I don't. How does that make sense? And why would you want to do that? It doesn't even make sense. I mean, I know he likes to play with his food or whatever, he likes to test his powers. He limits himself all the time and fights just to test his power. But that doesn't make any sense. Come on. Why would he go into a transformation that gives him higher power just to raise and lower it? And lower than what? I mean, I'm not saying that the other people are saying this or going this far, but it suggests that he can lower it to less than his base form, which. Why would he even do that? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, why go that far just to lower your power? What we might have to expect to be lower than his base form. Why would you do that? Doesn't make any sense. given all the forms he can go into, what doesn't make any sense at all. Um, Also, um, with all the training we've seen him go through, I mean, in Z alone, yeah, we would have to. I think we should have to expect he's before he even got to blue, he's had near perfect, if not perfect, key control by then. I mean, just the Kaioken and mastering Super Saiyan 1 alone. I mean, by that point, we should already expect that he has near perfect control over his ki. Like, what is Super Saiyan Blue is not really any different when you bring that in, and the fact that they even mention this in the series, especially I remember that one episode in the Universe 6 tournament when he's fighting Hit. To me, that's just some throwaway line. I never really bought that. I mean, Kaioken, if he didn't do it right, he would literally blow himself up. How, I mean, I get that it puts a huge strain on the body whenever you do it, even if you do it right. But if you do it right, if you don't do it right, you blow yourself up. That's the literal definition of, you know, excellent key control, near perfect, if not perfect. Perfect with regard to that situation, because if you don't do it, if you don't do it right, you're done. And then he mastered Super Saiyan 1, or as much as you could, but I mean, to the point where he could have it. He could be on for. He could have that form on for extended periods of time. Pretty much like minimize the consumption. That the form has on the stamina. It's like that was the whole point. You have key control, and it's like, okay, so at this point, I mean, I get it if he still has that problems with the other forms down the line, the other two forms, not Blue, not God. I'm not counting that because that's different. But I get it if he didn't have much control over those two forms later on. But by that point, even in his base Kaioken Super Saiyan 1, he should already know how to master his ki. I mean, at that point down the line, actually, at this point in the series, I would expect him to have mastered at least Super Saiyan 2. 3 probably not, because 3 seems to be horrendous when it comes to key control. But you're trying to tell me that by the time he gets to blue, all the way then, that's when he has perfect key control. I mean, at that point, maybe if you can finally call it perfect, but I would have said it's near perfect even before that. So, honestly, I think that's a dumb explanation. As in, it doesn't really answer the question. It doesn't really solve the problem. Doesn't really, it's kind of headcanon-ish, and it was poorly explained in series, honestly. As far as I can tell, there's not much explanation to a lot of things, but yeah, that's not a good explanation to what happened in this episode. I mean, why would he go blue if he can't fucking, like, to control his ki? I mean, I don't understand that. And he said he was letting out more power, so why would he go to a form that would presumably allow him to lower his ki? And then he outright says he's letting out more power. That doesn't make any sense. But then again, a lot of things don't seem to make sense in Super anymore. Like, it's getting dumb. And lastly, to the people, like I said, they're rushing the shit out of the series. They don't seem to know what the fuck they're doing anymore, if they did at all. And a lot of people were saying, "Oh, you still watch it?" Like, "Oh, why still watch it? Oh, see you next week." Blah blah blah. That's not any sort of substantial counter argument to anything. So, I mean, fuck you. I don't even if it wasn't me, take me out of the equation, because I'm not even saying these people are saying this to me. I've seen them say a lot of this same shit to a lot of other people. But even if it wasn't directed at anyone in particular, it doesn't matter. Like, first of all, you don't get to tell them what to do. I mean, they have a right to criticize it just as much as you have a right to defend it and watch it. So you're telling them to not watch it is not at all justified. I get the point behind what you're saying. Oh, why are you watching if you don't like it? Okay, but you're not you. That's to presume that you know what they're thinking and that they would do what you would do, so to speak. If that's what you, assuming that's what you would do, that you would drop a series if you don't like it. Which some people would do, but some people, it's not as set in stone. You can't always accurately predict what someone else is going to do. So that's not really an accurate counter argument for that reason alone. But also, yeah, you don't get to tell them what they want to do. Like, no, fuck you. They get to do what they want. They get to criticize it too. And no one's telling you you don't get to. I'm not saying you can't tell them to fuck off, and stop watching it, because no, you have every right to do that too. I mean, if I said you couldn't do that, that would be hypocritical. But I'm telling you that's not a good counter argument. So, okay, what you're saying doesn't mean anything. And it does nothing to address the problems that Super has created. I mean, I could get into a lot of reasons as to why Super is going down the drain. It's gotten so bad, if it wasn't already from the get. With a lot of the inconsistencies and the rule breaking that it's done. But that would be a lot of time to do, and I don't think I want to do in this video, because this is really mostly about this one episode. But I will say that the biggest problem that I have with this series overall, this episode is right now the prime example. It's probably the next one might be the prime example. I don't think it's not, but right now this episode is, as to why it's so, they're rushing the shit out of this, and it's Super is such a problem. I mean, whatever consistencies he had, for the most part, it did have some consistency that we could follow. It even kind of explicitly reinforced those things at certain points. Super right now is kind of just doing whatever the fuck it wants, and it's breaking that consistency. And here's why I say it's the biggest problem. Oh, Super is its own series. Shouldn't compare it to Z. Oh, Z had problems. Okay, but here's the thing. Super, it's supposed to be taking place in between the end of Boo arc and the end of Z. Therefore, it's taking place in between some portion of Z. Therefore, it should be operating within Z's rules. You don't have a series that's supposed to chronologically operate within another series, yet break its rules. Like, how does that make sense? You go from one series, right, and you jump to another one, which kind of is supposed to be taking place in between that previous series. Then the end of it, presumably, you're supposed to go back to that series. You switch the rules back and forth. That doesn't make any sense. It breaks the continuity and the consistency, and that should be called out from a storytelling, writing perspective. You're not supposed. It's a problem to do things like that, because if anything, it confuses the audience. I say that's like the tamest issue. It confuses the audience. Then they don't know what the fuck is going on, and it's like, I mean, that's kind of what's going on now, and it's like people have to come around and make all this bullshit headcanon to kind of defend it. It's like, no, the people in charge should be doing their job of making it make sense itself, not making the others do all this confusing work to kind of, mental gymnastics or whatever to kind of wrap their heads around it. That's not their job. The job that falls on the people in charge of making the series to do, and the fact that they're not doing that is a problem. It's kind of lazy on their part also. So they're doing a bad job, and there are people who are calling this out, but then there are people who are being criticized for calling this out, just for reasons that are bizarre to me. And it's like, well, I don't know. You think that a series that's lasted or a series that's based off a previous one, and chronologically supposed to fit in the previous one for some weird reason. I think it's rather arbitrary, but whatever. It's supposed to. Is now kind of just contradicting that previous one, and kind of not. It's kind of faring worse in some ways than the previous one. I'm not saying Zero is perfect, but I'm saying Super is worse by comparison, as far as I can tell. A lot of things just don't add up, don't make sense. Whereas he kind of made some sense, but Super is just like, what the? It's a clusterfuck, you know. And you would think that like kind of what I was trying to say was that a series that follows on a previous one should at least still be on par with, if not surpass the previous one, like be better than the previous one. But it's not doing that. It's kind of being worse, and that's a problem, especially since it's weirdly supposed to fall in place between two parts of Z. Honestly, I'd rather have it just at the end of Z, when Super ends. I'd rather just be all like a dream, like this never happened, because I mean, at this point, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know, but whatever. That's all the thoughts I wanted to share on this episode, and that's leave it at that for now. Just goddamn it, episode 100. What the fuck?